In this episode, I want to share 3 blouses that I've made for April Blouse 23, but I've also made a skirt, so I've got something to wear with them. Hello, I'm Gabrielle and welcome back to Cloth Edit. So today is all about blouses because as I'm recording this, it is the very last day for entries into the Instagram challenge Sew April Blouse 23, which I am hosting with the wonderful Ruan from the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and we are getting very excited. The entries have exploded, so it's been very hard to try and keep up with all those comments, and there have been quite a few late nights, but oh my goodness, they are just stunning. So even if you're not on Instagram, if you want to go and check out the hashtag Sew April Blouse 23, you will find it just so inspiring. There are so many patterns that I want to try and pattern companies that I didn't know about, so it's been wonderful. Now, before I go on, I need to let you know that I'm also sponsoring 2 other challenges in April, and yeah, I should have been promoting those as well, but it's just been a bit hectic. So Cloth Edit is actually a sponsor for the, now let me get it right, the Selfless Sew April 23 Instagram challenge, and that's run by Crystal of My Social Thread, and Adele from Sew for Serenity, and Claire of Stitch Hemp. So Cloth Edit is actually sponsoring a special prize for a winner from Australia and New Zealand. So yes, I'm looking forward to announcing that at some stage, or passing on the prize at least, rather than announcing. So that's exciting, and I'm also a sponsor for the challenge run by Charlene, who is So Dressmaking, and Jen of Jen Leg Tees Creatives, and they are the organisers of Sew Recreate the Look. So this year it's Sew Recreate the Look 23, and I've just had a scroll through that hashtag this morning, and entries are starting to come in, which is very exciting. So Cloth Edit is donating a $50 voucher to a prize winner from Australia or New Zealand. So that is exciting. So I would love to share with you the blouses I've been making in April. I wanted to do a Roundup makes video for March, and things just got way too hectic for me to do that, but I have pulled out my faves just to remind you. But I've done not Instagram, well, they're on Instagram, but I've done YouTube episodes on them. So the first one was the beautiful Chelsea blouse by Maison Fauve Patterns, with those amazing pleats and that beautiful keyhole opening, and that fabric was as is this one. They were the fabrics in the very first Club Cloth Edit offering. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to my newsletter because there'll be more about the next one in the coming weeks. And speaking of the Club Cloth Edit fabric, so this is a Marnie that I made, and it was the second one I've made. This was the first. The first one I did the ruffle around the neck and the ruffle at the front, and this one I just left those off, and I just love all of these blouses. They were fantastic. So today I want to talk about 3 others that I've made. So I've made the pattern Fantastique Phen, this one that I'm wearing. I made another Marnie, and if you can see it just behind me up there, a Maison Fauve Tilde blouse. Right, the first blouse that I'll talk about, first new blouse that I'll talk about, is the pattern Fantastique Phen blouse. And in my last video I said that I was pretty well decided. I was leaning towards the blue leaf print one of the new Atelier Jupe viscose prints, and I love it. Just a little bit of a background to this pattern. It's really oversized. It has a drop shoulder. It's very oversized under the arms, more like a bat wing shape. But what I love, and I might actually pull this out here to show you, it tapers right in at the waist. So it's great for either wearing tucked in because it's full and loose, but then there's not too much to tuck in. But it's also looks great just out for a slimmer look around the hips. So the Phen blouse comes with lots of different options. It has the option of a necktie that it attaches above, I believe, the collar stand, and there are also cuffs with optional ties as well. It has, as I said, very drop shoulder. There's a seam, there's a very deep yoke at the back, and a lovely box pleat in the center back with some nice top stitching, and the seam of the yoke is beautiful. It runs beautifully and continues into the seam that's at the back of the sleeve, and I wanted to play with that in my version. So the size range for the Phen pattern, it goes from a size 6 to a 26, and just to give you an idea, finished garment measurements, size 6 81 centimeters to size 26 131 centimeters around the bust. Those two measurements are around the bust. So yeah, it's a lovely, lovely design, and I've wanted to make it, well, ever since it was launched, so it was lovely to finally do it. So as always, I want to do, well, as often is the case, I wanted to alter it a little bit. I didn't want to do the tie collar, and just for practical reasons, I didn't want to do the tie cuffs for me. So left those off, but what I really wanted to do, that back seam across that runs across the back and then into the back of the sleeves, I really wanted to insert a ruffle, and that's what I did. I'll insert some much better images so you can have a closer look at that, but I just love it. And so each side, to give you an idea of how much fabric is in my ruffle, how gathered it is, if you imagine the full width of the fabric, so if it was 140 centimeters, I used probably, I think it was about, say, 110, so just over a meter gathered up into the ruffle, and it's double-sided, and I've just inserted it. Now I had to alter the sleeve to be able to do that, because the pattern has an opening, like a slit and a placket, and then cuffs attached. So it's very slim because that placket is sort of meant to be quite open and allow for movement. So anyway, I just redrafted those pieces, and I'll probably insert a little bit of an image here to give you an idea. I don't write any notes, I kind of just eyeball it and work it out as I'm going. And it's spot on. If I was doing it again, I probably would have made the sleeves a bit bigger and inserted elastic. That's where I was going, what I was going to do. But they weren't, there's not much room there, so I didn't even bother to insert elastic. And they sort of hit, I sort of guessed correctly as far as where I wanted them to hit. And as far as finishing off the cuff with that frill, I just made sure that the frill went right to the end of the sleeve so I could turn that up also into the hem. So it's lovely. I love this really loose, oversized bodice portion, but then how it comes in more neatly to the waist. I love it. And I'll probably insert some full-length images here, because as I was mentioning in an earlier vlog, my problem lately with blouses is I don't have much to wear them with. I've got lots of skirts, but most of them are a bit too small at the moment, and I'm just sort of limited. So I've been thinking about this maxi denim skirt for some time, and I'll just quickly grab the pattern. I made the assembly line elastic waist maxi skirt. Gosh, and after all these blouses and pleats, how simple was this? It was so quick to make, and I've made lots of this type of skirt before, although generally not elastic waist, generally with a waistband and zip up the back. But I love this style of the pockets that are incorporated and anchored into that side seam. These pockets are beautiful, they're lovely and deep and just the way I like them. Now the waistband for this skirt required, I think, 10 centimeter elastic. So if you look at the picture, it looks like there are two. Let me get closer and get my face out. It looks like there are two, it requires 2 rows of elastic, but they've actually just stitched it in the middle. So I think they've suggest 10 centimeter elastic and then stitching it halfway to create that look. I couldn't find 10 centimeter wide elastic from my suppliers. I had 5 centimeter wide elastic, so I just made that fit. And of course you've got the problem of 2 channels, and that's obviously going to take up more room, so I just had to use the tiniest seam when I fixed the waistband to the actual upper skirt portion, and that seemed to work. And yes, so I've got 2 rows of elastic, and look, honestly, I think I would do that again rather than the 10 centimeter wide. I have a feeling with that 10 centimeter wide you'd get that crease in the middle anyway, which anyway, anyone who's made that with the really wide elastic, let me know how you went with that. So I think I mentioned that I was going to make it in this beautiful, you can't see here, but I'll put the pictures here, organic hemp and cotton fabric. This has such beautiful drape. It washes like a dream. You really, I don't think I ironed it. I did iron it, but it's one of those fabrics that you don't need to iron very much, if you know what I mean. Yes, and it's just perfect for this time of year, and I just love that I've got a nice high-waisted skirt to wear so I can tuck my blouses into it. It's going to be great for winter too, just teaming with pullovers as well. Yeah, so it's such a versatile make and easy to make. Now that pattern is in stock at Cloth Edit, just like the pattern Fantastique pattern. It comes in 2 size ranges, so the extra small to large, and then it's an extra large to 2XL or 3XL, I believe. So, and there's a little bit of wiggle room with that, you know, so I didn't want, you know, if you don't want too much fabric around your middle, I would suggest, you know, going as small as you can so you can get it over your hips. So I'd be looking at the finished waist, or yeah, measuring the pattern to see what the waist measures before you decide on a size. Because you'll find that there's plenty of room around the hips, so it's just a matter of getting that getting the waist above your hips to get on. So anyway, so that's my second make, the beautiful assembly line elastic waist maxi skirt. My apologies, I've just realized that I should have had the fan off above the camera, so hopefully the sound is a little bit better now. So I had this cut out for SewFrugal23, and it's the Maison Fauve Tilde blouse. And I'm just going to show you the pattern. I was very good and I printed out the free pattern, but in the end I just didn't have time to stick that thing together. So I pulled out a pattern and traced it, and while I was at it I thought, well, I may as well make the most of the collar options, because I'm not taking part in SewFrugal anymore. So I really wanted to play around with that big collar, that beautiful big square collar, but I didn't have much fabric left. I just had enough for a little collar, and it's really sweet. I'll just hold that up close, but I'll also insert photos as well. This is a lovely fit around the upper shoulders. It's really neat and well drafted, and you have these beautiful big sleeves that sort of slightly encroach on that shoulder, which is quite flattering, I always think, when designers do that. It's a beautiful big sleeve, and it would be amazing to actually see it in a cotton to really make the most of those sleeves. Probably the sleeve is just finished with a little cuff, which is lovely. I sort of lately have been going my own way with instructions, so as long as there are some key images that sort of hit the major steps, I just follow those. So I'm pretty sure how I assembled the neckline and sandwiched my collar and facing, I'm pretty sure that wasn't as per the pattern, but it worked fine. Facings can be rather annoying, but I did, because I've got a collar on, I was able to sort of do some stitching, so it's stitched down underneath, which is great. I didn't do a loop and button at the back. Whenever I think of it, I generally like to make a little tab. I'll just show you. I often do this. I just create a little tab and use slightly bigger clips, and I just find that, I don't know, I like it. I think sometimes with buttons, hair gets caught around them, so I like that. So yes, that is my Tilde blouse. It's I've tried it on with this skirt. I didn't like it at first. I think because it's so pretty, I think I need shoes that are a bit heavier, you know, or wear it with boots, just to make it a little bit more modern looking as an outfit. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's very, very pretty. It's lovely, lovely fabric, and a beautiful print. It's very full, so if you're the type of person who loves that full blouse over jeans, skinny jeans and that sort of thing, this is a lovely blouse. It's got beautiful movement, and I think you will love it. So that's the second blouse, the Maison Fauve Tilde. Time for my Marnie. As I mentioned in another vlog, it wasn't my intention to sew another Marnie so quickly, but it was the night before the Gather and Stitch sewing meetup that I was organising, and I was just really busy, and I had this Positano fabric washed and ready to go, and the Marnie was traced. So I thought, let's just go with that, because I wanted to try the Marnie in a linen, and I was making this skirt, so I wouldn't normally wear a Marnie in linen, like a fuller blouse, then over pants. That's not going to look great for me, but because I was making this skirt, I wanted to give that look a go. So a full amount of Marnie and those beautiful sleeves with that linen body. I thought would look lovely, sort of tucked in neatly at the waist, and I'm really happy with it. I'm also happy with the way that the pleats sort of play with the, give the fabric dimension, and especially given this, patchwork design in the Positano print. It's just so beautiful. I was pretty, even though it was, after midnight by the time I was cutting this out, I did keep in mind where particular parts of the print would be. So I knew I wanted to have a butterfly on the front yoke. It's one of my favorite parts of the print. I also love the navy stripe, and I tried to not match, you know what I mean? I didn't want the arms, the sleeves symmetrical, so each sleeve sort of does feature different parts of the print, which I really love. I wanted the leopard print with the rose on it. I knew I wanted that to be featured nicely at the front as well. So anyway, yes, I just love this pattern, and I know you've heard everyone say how much they love it. I agree. I really, really love it. I'll just quickly show you the back. I've just finished mine with a little shell button. That's a little flower. Hopefully I've got a picture for you. And that is it. I've spoken about Marnie before. I did include the pleats on the sleeves as well. I mentioned that I was thinking about taking some fullness out of the front portion of the bodice, the lower portion of the bodice. I didn't end up doing that. I just left it as is. I was thinking maybe I would have to make the sleeves a little slimmed down, but no, I love it. I love the fullness and drama of it as well. So that's my third Marnie. I can't believe I've done that, but I really, really love it. I do not regret it at all. So I'll insert some images here, some closer images of the Marnie, this version of my Marnie. It's been extremely popular in the SewFrugal Blouse 23 challenge. There are so many beautiful versions. So if you're on the fence about the pattern, if it's not something you'd normally go for, have a look at the hashtag and see all the gorgeous versions. Honestly, there are really bold versions like this, really bold, bigger scale prints, and there are lots of beautiful, delicate florals that are really understated and just so pretty. There are lots of versions with, with ruffles and the ruffle neck, and there are lots of just pared down versions also, even without the pleats. So it's fantastic that sewers who have different style preferences but also different skill levels, can give this blouse a go, and it just looks amazing on everyone. I just love it. It's also been wonderful to sew up some blouses from the sponsors of SewFrugal Blouse 23. So Tilly and the Buttons, and I've only been stocking Tilly and the Buttons at Cloth Edit for a few months now, and they were so eager to get on board with the challenge and sponsor it. So I'm very grateful to them. Maison Fauve, who have been so supportive of Cloth Edit, and as Cloth Edit brought their patterns to Australia. So they are always very generous sponsors, and so it was wonderful to make up another one of their patterns. And Pattern Fantastique, who very generously has donated 3 hard copy paper patterns that I'm putting in with one of the major prizes. So 3 very generous sponsors. So I'm so happy to actually make the garments and show them off. That's all from me today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you would like it, that would be wonderful. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could subscribe, that would also be fantastic of you. I will be back very soon because I will have a video announcing the winners of Sew April Blouse 23. And so look out for that at the end of the week. If you want to get notified, do that bell thing. And of course it's an Instagram challenge, so the winners absolutely will be announced on Instagram also, so you can please yourself, you know, which platform you'd like to find out about the winners on. Right, I have got lots of things planned for Cloth Edit. It's all been a bit delayed, some things because of the challenge, but that's okay. May is a new month and I think it fits perfectly with my plans. So if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, that's generally where my customers find out first about things that are happening. So you might want to do that if you're interested. Right, I hope you have a lovely weekend. If you are busy sewing, trying to get in your blouse for the Sew April Blouse challenge, hang in there, you can do it. If you haven't hemmed something, tuck it in, we'll never know. Yes, and have a wonderful week. Take care, bye-bye.